What's up, guys? Taking charges. How often does your team take a charge? It can be a huge asset if it's done on a regular basis, and I'll show you how I got my team to be the #1 team in the state for charges taken. Okay, so most of us coaches, probably the hardest thing about teaching a kid to take a charge is getting over the fear of being hit and or hitting the ground. I think that's probably the biggest thing that the kids have a problem with when taking a charge, is whether or not they have that fear of getting hit or how do they fall. So that's going to be one of the main things that you're going to want to focus on in training them, in training not only their minds, but training their bodies, like how to fall, how to get hit. It's kind of like in football. If you take a kid that's never been in football before and put them in pads and put them on the field and they get hit once, their body's not going to get used to it. It's the same thing with taking a charge. So you have to practice this. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you some live game speed stuff here that actually happened just this year in the 2020 season while we're in a pandemic and playing with our mask and whatnot. So to show you live speed how this works, and then I'm going to get into the actual drills that we do based on that we do at practice to get these girls prepared, mentally and physically prepared to take charges in a game. Okay. Right there, getting in front. That's actually one of our freshmen right there. She is not afraid to just step in front and let somebody knock her over. Same thing again, same girl. Just step over right there. And of course, for us, it's a big deal for us, to be able to do that, because now we're using it as an asset to help our defense. So it's not just playing defense, we're using it. Right there, totally prepared for that one. And again, look at our bench just going nuts over there. It's like a 5-second party we're having when that happens. Okay, so now we're getting into the practice stuff. You guys saw that happen in live on the game film there, and of course I have a lot more examples, but those are just one for the sake of keeping this short. There's those are 3 examples. So how we do this at practice is, number one is I have to preach. I have to sell the idea. For those of us coaches who are trying to sell our vision on what we want to do, we almost have to become salesmen in the fact that we have to get them on board with our vision. And one of our vision this year was to take charges. Now last season alone, we only took 3 charges. So this year, I decided to make a bigger investment into our time on what we do and how we get those charges to happen. So what we're doing here, first of all, was to get them used to getting hit and hitting the ground. So a simple drill like this, where you just have one girl on the baseline and they just go at each other, and to make sure we're getting in front. So that's important right there, is to make sure the girls know. And you'll notice that each time that we've taken a charge, we don't have our hands out. We don't have our hands up, like for instance here in the game. Each time we've done it right here. So you'll see my player here, when she steps over, she does not have her hands up. She puts her hands in front of her. That's important right there. I'm instructing my girls not to put their hands out. The same thing right here. You'll see her when she steps over here at half court, steps over to take a charge, she puts her hands in front of her like that. That's important, because when they take an impact, they're taking it right to the middle of their body. So you do not want to have your hands up or out that exposes the midsection when you're taking a hit, a shoulder, an elbow from somebody. You want your forearms across your body so that your forearms can absorb the impact on taking that. So that's number one, getting their hands in front of them. And not only on top of that, we're trying to show the referee that I'm trying to take a charge here. That's what we're doing. That whole body motion of putting your arms in front of you. Right here. See that? She puts her arms in front of her so she can protect her body. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to show the referee I'm taking a charge. I'm not here trying to block her shot or knock the ball away. I'm trying to take a charge. And so when you're showing the referee that, he's more likely to probably give you the whistle too as well. Okay. So getting hit right here, you can see her. She's taking that hit to the middle of the body. Okay, so that's the other thing is, and I don't know, I think everybody's rules is different probably per state or where you live, but ours, in our state, you can be moving side to side to get to the spot. As long as you are in athletic stance, You are not moving towards the offensive player. And as long as you have gotten to the spot first, you do not have to be necessarily standing stationary like the way I remember it when I was playing high school. In high school, we had to basically be a statue and we had to get knocked off our feet. So this is a little bit different now. As long as we get to the spot, we'll get rewarded for it. So getting hit in the middle, that's important. Getting your feet there first. A lot of girls want to go with the top body. You got to lead with the waist. That's important. Lead with the feet, lead with the waist. The top body will follow. Now notice right here is that as she's getting hit, her hands and her butt are going to go down to the floor. You see that right there? That's important too. You don't want them to fall straight backwards on their back, like a statue. You want them to hit the floor on their butt and then use their hands. So you put their hands back just like that and slide yourselves backwards. So getting a good slide is important right there. Getting a good slide when they get hit, you can see right here, she's going to get hit her hands, get a good slide. So that's important, doing that over and over and over again and getting that slide, hitting their butt. You don't want them just to hit, the ground. You want them to slide back. That's important. And the more and more these kids do this, a lot of coaches, they'll say, well, what about, if a kid, falls back and hits their head? Well, it's just like anything else. The kid literally, if you don't know already, the kid literally has to learn how to fall. If they don't know how to fall correctly, yeah, you're right. They absolutely will probably hit their head. But the more they do this on a slower basis, do it slow, and then once we move to get faster and more game speed, then they get more easier. See this right here? Boom, she's gonna slide. Okay, so that's important to get that in the mindset. So here's again, this is a drill. We don't do it every day, but we do it pretty regularly. And once the girls see what an asset it can be and how much it helps our defense, they're more willing to do it. Okay, now right here in front of us is, one of our girls taking, showing one of our younger players how to do it. And so, getting in that mindset of taking a charge is an asset. And once we are using it as an asset right there, like that was a good one right there. Stepping over, taking that hit. See the hands in right there? And then she's going to hit the floor and push back and then get a good slide. Same thing here. Hit, slide back. Okay, and again, doing this, this is probably, I would say, maybe half speed, maybe or so that they're doing this at practice. Obviously, we're not trying to hurt each other at practice. We're just going over the motion and trying to get them in the habit of not being afraid. Like, that's got to be number one, not being afraid to do this. If these girls can take a hit and get up, and of course, in the game when their adrenaline's pumping and stuff, they're not going to feel it as much as they think they will. So, they're going to get up, it's going to be over in a millisecond, and it's going to make their teammates excited. It's going to allow them to play more, show more hustle on defense and things like that. So it's going to get them more playing time. And ultimately it's going to make them tougher too as well. So adding charges into your repertoire as a asset, as a weapon to be able to use on defense for the other team, especially if you got other teams, other players that have really good players that can get all the way to the bucket for a layup. Boy, this is crucial, because when the other team knows that you're not afraid to take a charge, they're less likely to come into the lane, or when they do, they stop because they don't want to get that foul. So it becomes a huge asset when the other team knows that you and anybody else on your team is ready and well prepared to take a charge. This stuff is just truly I think it's an underused asset. So when we invested a lot of time in it this year, we got our team to be the number one team in the state for charges taken. And we're averaging like almost 2 a game. In some cases we've taken 3, and one of them it should have been 6, but it was actually, they got called 3 because, the referees and whatnot. But when it's an asset like that, it can totally turn the tides of a game. So, I encourage you guys to do this, and I encourage you guys, just to take it slow at first and introduce the idea to them. You got to sell the idea on how it's going to work. Another thing that I did with this team too, as well, is we did, I don't know if you guys know, like in college football, maybe like Ohio State, they get the stickers on the helmet. So for me, we have travel jackets that we use, And so every time a girl takes a charge, they get a star on their jacket. It's a little iron-on, sew-on fabric star that they get. And so now my girls, and there's other ways to earn different stars and whatnot, but you should see some of these girls' jackets. Like, they're filled up across the front with stars, just like a football helmet is, and it's kind of showing off. So every time they take a charge, it's like a big deal because they've earned a star. And so that's one of the things that's kind of an incentive, to take a charge, to be on their toes all the time, to be able to do that. So that's it. Hey, hopefully you guys like that video. I would definitely want to be putting a lot more out. So if you guys like it, subscribe so I can put more out and you guys can see it. If you guys want to reach out and contact me, by all means, totally down to talk hoops. So good luck to you, Coach. Thanks.